Joining us now to talk about it, Ford O'Connell, Republican strategist, and Scottie Nell Hughes, news director for the Tea Party News Network. Ford is in Washington. Scottie Nell is in Nashville, Tennessee. To you both, thank you for your time and welcome back to America's Forum.
Well, it's always great to be with you, JD. You know that.
Well, thanks, pal. I like to think so. Scottie Nell, there you sit in Nashville. And Scottie Nell, you've been working with the Tea Party News Network for a long time, underscored a lot of the dissatisfaction among the grassroots. Does that dissatisfaction enable Republicans and grassroots conservatives in the Tea Party to unite for success in November?
You would think, but unfortunately, even as you sat there and you read a wonderful quote from Newt Gingrich from just yesterday, and he's sitting here talking about immigration should be the issue, he's turned around and he endorsed Lamar Alexander, who is extremely liberal when it comes to Republican issues. He's actually on the opposite side of most conservatives, and Newt Gingrich himself endorsed him yesterday. So that's the problem we're having within our own party. I feel like this is an assault. Instead of sitting here and trying to unify us under issues like Dick mentioned, like immigration, Obamacare, we have some of our key leaders sitting there saying one thing, but then their actions do the other. So I think as a party, we have to decide, are we going to unite? Are we going to continue this targeting of conservatives and conservative officials unlike anything we've ever done or launched against the Democrats?
Well, Scottie Nell, your comments there, since you're ground zero in Tennessee, a question that is not an irrelevancy, but really I just need to know, where did Tennessee get the idea for Thursday primaries? Why is there a Thursday primary?
I asked that same question because, trust me, my kids are getting out of school and they just started on Monday. You know, here in Tennessee, we like to do everything different from everyone else. We like to have the spotlight on us. And with a race like Lamar Alexander versus Joe Carr tomorrow, we're definitely going to have the spotlight on us. And I don't know if it's necessarily a spotlight that we want at this point.
Scottie, guess what? Lamar Alexander's going to win. That doesn't matter. The primaries are over. The question is, will the negative economic numbers hurt Democrats in November? And frankly, you're hitting the nail on the head. Republicans have to get out of their own way. We have to stop fighting. We actually have to win elections. We got to stay out of the news. Let President Obama keep talking, and that's the deal. Unfortunately, this is a hold-your-nose election. We need to get into power, and unfortunately, policies are forte and not strategic thinking, as you're displaying right now. Just win, baby.
Well, to be fair to Scottie Nell, though, Ford, there is a primary tomorrow, and it ain't over yet, and you have primaries for a reason. Scottie Nell.
Well, I'll eat my hat. Let's put it this way. I'll eat my hat if Lamar Alexander loses, and I'll come on your show and take a beating from Scottie Nell on Friday. How's that?
Listen here, Ford, you're probably right. I guarantee Lamar probably will win tomorrow. And that's because he sat there and he knows he's desperate because he's had to pull in Mike Huckabee, Newt Gingrich, Fred Thompson, all these guys that have come in and corrupted the word conservative, a word that the grassroots were the ones that brought up. But you now, Republicans establishment, decided that in order for you to win, you're going to steal the word and you're going to sit there and you're going to have to pour millions of dollars, as your campaigns have had to do this time, against our grassroots who are truly conservatives and principled.
This is why Democrats are basically lobbing wedge issues at us and trying to get us to make comments like Mo Brooks did, because essentially the Tea Party doesn't understand the primaries are basically over and we need to focus on winning in the general election. In the next 90 days, the best thing that Republicans can do on the campaign trail is basically talk about the economy and stay out of the news and let President Obama basically become the sinking ship he is. And that's basically by being the other party, Republicans can win. But the question is, can they get out of their own way? And in 2016, that's not going to work. We're going to have to come up with a strategic vision of our own.
You mean a strategic vision like what you guys have done with Mitt Romney? How about the establishment sit there instead of having to cover things with their dollars? Because the American people are waking up, hence why you've seen the surge and the grassroots sit there and empower themselves. And let's try working together instead of trying to go undermine and destroy and corrupt, which is what our party's done. The American people are not represented right now by the establishment Republicans. The only thing you're winning with is by dollars. You
Scottie,
guys
I don't care about establishment or Tea Party. I care about
what you represent.
And let me be honest with you. The Tea Party needs to basically go back to the drawing board. You're going to win 0 high-profile strategic primaries for 2 reasons: bad strategy and poor candidate selection. So please, win some elections and then pipe up.
Well, there was one. Hang on just a second, Scottie. Before we transition, there was one high-profile victory. Dave Bratt over Eric Cantor.
And guess what? None of the Tea Party groups did anything, JD. Frankly, that was the locals. And guess what? It wasn't a high-profile race. It was a high-profile candidate. The bottom line is this is going to be the first time since 2008 that every single Republican Senate candidate has won a primary. So please, tell me what a great job the Tea Party groups are doing.
Hey, why don't you tell me how great the Republicans have done on the real high-profile race? Let's see, Bob Dole, Mitt Romney. Let me tell me about the guys when it really comes down to it. Your establishment guys don't win. Why don't you start at the top and then you can sit there and consult on the Tea Party?
But I'm not the one who's preaching disunity here.
It only takes the power of one. We are not winning by losing
I'm
and
not
success.
on the establishment of the Tea Party side. I'm on the winning side, and I want Republican ideas because I know that Democrats winning is a waste of time, okay? But
you want to talk about winning ideas? John Boehner opening up our borders with his original Gang of Eight plan, that's winning to you? That's what's helped get us in this situation right now. It's
Did that pass the House? Scottie, did that pass the House?
Thank God, because of the conservative Republicans that we put in 2012 or 2010.
First of all, the Senate immigration plan didn't pass anything. You're using talking points. You're not using logic here, and that's the problem. And to beat the Democrats, we actually have to use strategy because at the end of the day, they want you and I to keep fighting, and that is a recipe for disaster, Scottie. That's
exactly.
the bottom line.
Let me step in here a little bit in what has been a very exciting free exchange of ideas. Let me just make this point. Whatever happens, and part of it is you have the fights in the primaries, but there has to be a reconciliation.
Exactly.
And whether you term someone establishment or Tea Party, there may have been passing grades for incumbents in terms of victory, but there's not been a whole lot of reconciliation in terms of reaching out to the activists who may have opposed those incumbents. And again, maybe it's playing percentages, and we all know politics ain't beanbag. But are we going to see efforts on the part of, and I'll call them the Republican establishment, to reach out to the grassroots to try and mend fences to unify for the midterms and beyond, Ford?
There absolutely needs to be because, frankly, the Republicans in Washington, particularly the NRSC, are basically telling all the activists that they're stupid. You can't be winning elections by basically discounting half your base. So, look, I agree with you. I'm not saying that the establishment Republicans are doing it right. All I'm saying is we need to find this point of unification. But as you're seeing right now, Scottie doesn't even want to find that. All she wants to sit there and do is throw out different issues that haven't even been passed.
Well, now I thought we were about to have a point of agreement. Scottie, Nell, what about what Ford had to say before he called in your previous discussion? Go ahead.
Like most Republicans, they sit there and they're doing so well, and then they go that next extra step, which is why we continue to self-destruct within the Republican Party. I agree, Ford, you were right. But you know what? Are we really winning in the case of Mississippi when Thad Cochran had to reach across the aisle and recruit Democrats to come over and vote just to keep in office? Is that really winning? You know what? When Thad Cochran issues an apology for doing that, then I agree. Then we will be able to help. But we have got to get the high horses off their high horse, back down and say, thank you guys, thank you grassroots, thank you passionate people. Let's actually unite under the conservative principles. Let's fight Obamacare, which is what we need to be doing right now. Let's close our borders, which is what we want to do. And then we will win.
Okay, go ahead, Ford. Go ahead.
I will take Thad Cochran and twice on Sunday over any Democrat caucusing with Harry Reid. I agree with you. I had no dog in that race. Unfortunately, though, the rules were the rules, and Thad Cochran won. We need to move on, sadly enough, and hopefully...
No, the rules were the rules, and Thad Cochran shouldn't have won. If the rules were obeyed, Thad Cochran shouldn't have won.
But Scottie, now, woulda and shoulda, the race has been done. Now, for Chris to continue on, does it ever reach a point where it's counterproductive?
You were right about that, JD, and that's right now. I'm as big as much a Chris McDonald fan as I can be, Daniel fan. But to be honest with you, you're right. At this point, I do agree that he does need to just regather. He can win again. But you know what would really help that? If Thad Cochran would come out and say, I'm sorry. He would still be senator, but he'd come out and say, you know what, this is not the Pandora's box we need to open. We do not need to encourage folks who voted in the Democrat primary and won election that in a re-election to come over and cross over vote just to keep my job. That would go a long way. Just like
all right, last word to Ford. We got 30 seconds. Very quickly,
Ford.
Ford.
The race is over. We need to move on, and whoever the nominee is, whether it's an establishment or grassroots nominee, her Tea Party nominee. We have to unify behind them because this is precisely what the Democrats want. They want to divide us and keep us going because this is how they win elections.
And on that note, where I think we can agree, we'll stop it right now, but we'll bring you guys back. Always interesting, exciting, and passionate. Scottie, Nell, Hughes, and Ford O'Connell, thanks so much. And America's Forum will continue after this time out.